because we're going to be straight on the camera. All right, y'all. What's up? This is the Black Love Dialogue. Let me at least put my new flyer up for the Black Love Dialogue as we get this thing started. So let me at least show that before we officially start this first broadcast with returning guest, Fila Antwine. Here we go. All right, let me put this up. I had this up. We were practicing. All right, y'all. Now, good stuff. We want to introduce the Black Love Dialogue, Legacy Before Love, a private podcast. I've got amazing hosts. And so I wanted to introduce Fila, who definitely was the first person to agree to be a part of a private podcast experience. If y'all know about Mental Dialogue, she's been on Mental Dialogue many a times. I try to do the the Mental Dialogue perspective. We did a great show talking about relationships. As you see, she's as I always highlight, she's an award-winning relationship coach. So, Father, thank you for being down with this endeavor as we're going to get off the public broadcast and go private with it for those who are serious about love, marriage, and legacy. So thank you for agreeing to be a part of the Black Love Dialogue. And as I said, for the audience, I want to introduce them to you before we kick off at the end of the month with the official private podcast on January the 25th, 8 p.m. But thank you for being with me, Queen.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you for always seeing me and appreciating what it is I have to offer. What you're creating is something phenomenal. And I think that it's really going to blow the roof off things. So I am happy to be a part of it.
No, absolutely. Again, bring you to the broadcast anytime we had serious relationship conversations. I just wanted to highlight, personally and tell you why I chose you, because I've always vetted anybody I even would bring to Mental Dialogue. We did that podcast audio only for 8 years, right? And so on social media, it's a lot of relationship coaches to follow. So I don't know how I came across you originally, but amongst all the ones I was following, I was like, man, Fila makes the most sense for current times, right? Like we were always talking about I think we did. You may have been on the show. We were talking about I don't know if you were on this show or not, but I remember we did a show in the dialogue talking about is there pee in the
dating pool,
dating pool, or something like that, right? So we did that show, and so there's a lot of new dynamics in current times that we're both very aware of. And so when I watch you and see what you're talking about, I'm like, her stuff is prevalent for now. And I say that specifically, again, is what made me bring you on, is because while there's a lot of stuff that I feel like we haven't held on to that we should have from the past, I think sometimes people romanticize that. And if you romanticize it too much, it still won't help people now, even though it's a lot of good stuff. And so when I look at you, and I'm not surprised that you're an award-winning relationship coach, because you seem, in my opinion, you seem to best mesh traditionally, still makes sense with how to navigate it in current times. And you also, in my opinion, also seem to understand, in a sense, what those of us who are, I'm engaged now, whatever, but I've been in a dating pool for all these years, if you will. But you also seem to understand what those of us at the dating pool don't know or don't understand. That's what I would, in my opinion, when I go to my elders, they're not understanding what we don't understand. I feel like that's what made you stand out to me. So I wanted to say,
I love that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I've never said that to you. Yeah, I've never said that to you. But that in particular, I'm like, it's like, it's not approach. For me, you don't approach people with just, you don't know this. It's like you have an understanding of, okay, in current times, you don't have this foundation. So it's like you have a beautiful way of weaving that foundation, but relating to what the current pool of daters, those of us out here still trying to figure it out, what we don't understand. So that's just a beautiful thing. So I'll put it back to you. No, absolutely. So I'll put it back to you and just simply ask, why did you agree to be a part of a private podcast experience? We're going to explain those details in a second, but just, what we're trying to do. What made you say, I want to be a part of this in particular?
So first of all, I have no ulterior motives, right? I'm clear, upfront, and direct about the fact that I want to help restore relationships between Black men and Black women. I want us to have a community and a foundation of healthy relationships. That's why I'm here. And so the private podcast gives an opportunity to go underneath the surface level conversations. to dive deeper in an environment where there's safety, where there's nourishment, where there's support, where people can have that safe space to say, well, this is what I'm really feeling. This is why I'm really angry, outside of all of the public opinions, right? And the fear of being seen by a larger group. So I said yes, because I really do believe that this is going to be a pathway to creating some substantial change within our relationship dynamics. And that's what we need so much.
Nah, well, again, I appreciate you for being a part of it. And to explain the private podcast, we're going to get anybody that sees this, we're going to give you an example of what we're going to be doing here in a second. But just to give even details behind the private podcast, when you mention the safe space, it's a term that's thrown around a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are doing them, so it's nothing against that. But even though we're calling it a private podcast, the way we're doing it, you will be invited. There will be a fee to be a part of the private podcast. So it's not just available to the public. The other thing is, believe it or not, we're not recording. Like, that's how serious and committed when you say, this is something that you generally do with no ulterior motive. That's how sincere we are about getting people and giving them a space to have the opportunity to talk to people like yourself and some of the other co-hosts that we have who help people currently. All of y'all individually help people build up their marriages specifically for our community. So we're bringing people like yourself that are committed to helping our community from a sincere space, and actually at a relatively low price if you think about it, to get access to people like you. But we're not even recording it, even though we're calling it a podcast. So you can't get any safer than that. When we get, like you said, get below these surface level conversations to allow people to say, hey, here's my situation, if they choose to. Well, we're going to, give them a lot of good guidance, regardless of whether they choose. You can just sit back and enjoy it and listen and learn from people like yourself. So it's going to be a different opportunity than, we're not out here trying to get clicks on the internet. That's just keeping it a being. I'll give you one last thought, and we're going to give an example of, what we're going to be doing on the podcast. All right, for anybody watching. So basically what happens is you'll be invited to the podcast. If you decide to be a part of the podcast, we'll have people like Fila, and we're going to show some current clips. And we're also going to use this foundational book for the season 1, The Inner Working of Relationships, just to show that out there to everyone. And it really gets into what you individually need to do in the idea of a relationship. And so it really makes you work on yourself. So that's why we are using this book to start off season 1, and also clips like this. So here's a clip, and and this is the type of things we'll be doing part of the podcast. So we're going to highlight that all month before we start on January the 28th at 8 p.m. I'm sorry, January 25th, that Sunday, before we start. So if you come to this YouTube page, you're going to see a lot of examples, just small examples of what we'll be doing. The difference is you'll be able to participate because you'll be on the podcast with us. So if you pay to be a part of the podcast, you will be able to talk directly to us as well. So that it won't be just watching a podcast and commenting in the comments. You literally will be part of it and can talk directly with us and give us your 3 cents about the input. You may have some wisdom that everybody needs to hear when you're a part of our private podcast. So all right, here's a quick example, and I'll get your thoughts on this one, if you will, Fila, once it's done.
Okay. You do not get married because you're in love with someone. You have to be in love with marriage if you're going to get married. A man says to a woman, I'm not the marrying type. I never really thought of marriage. I don't like the idea so much, but you are incredible. You I would marry. Terrible idea and unfair. The entire weight of the relationship is on her. She has to be incredible every day. Otherwise, he has no interest in being married.
What's up? It's your boy, Black Socrates. As I always say, the truth comes in all colors. I find this clip to be very profound. It's something that I didn't understand until my 40s, if you will. Highly recommend go find the Mental Dialogue Talk Show, How I Lost a Decade Chasing Love, hip-hop, How I Lost a Decade Chasing Love, as I break down my misunderstanding of what I now understand, I understand this guy is saying. At the end of the day, how many of us have fallen in love with the concept of love, or that he or she is so incredible, and that's been, in a sense, the start, and people went all the way to the to alter just based on that, not understanding marriage and what its purpose really is. We are the first generation to be raised with movies, so we've confused and placed love before legacy, and we have it backwards. It's legacy before love. Marriage is about commitment to family and children. All I ask is that you think. Your thoughts, Fila?
So I absolutely love the commentary. And it really speaks to the level of selfishness that we currently see, right? The individualism that we see when folks are getting into relationships. It really is about, how is this going to give me something, as opposed to, what can I give to this partnership? What can we build together? And the idea of marriage as a selfish construct is really modern. And like you said in the clip, it is based on music and movies and media and what's been propagated specifically on the Black community, which is this individualism, this materialism, this gaining only for oneself, where marriage is about building a family, building a community, building a legacy. And I know that there are a lot of women who believe that women only married for security previously. And since we no longer need men for that, that marriage is no longer important. But if you look at the statistics and you look at the mental health crisis that we're having in our communities, and you look at the wealth gap in our communities, then there is a deeper level of conversation for us to have about what the purpose of marriage really is, and how we get back in position to create healthy relationships and build stronger marriages, so that we can build up a community that can take care of itself.
No, absolutely. And I know when I used to say legacy before love, I've been saying it kind of for a number of years. And I'm like, on Mental Dialogue, we do race, sex, and culture. And obviously, I always say, for all of the solutions that people may want to talk about economically, politically, and all these areas, I always say, all of this for naught if we don't fix the basic relationship between the Black man and Black woman. And so it made me say, you know what, let me now spend full time and create a separate podcast where we focus on that basic foundation. So I love talking about all the other things, but again, all of those things are for naught if we just don't get this basic unit put together in the correct way for the future generations, right? And so I also like to highlight, when I say legacy before love, I'm not placing a hierarchy on it. It's just the order of things, right? Because sometimes people, when I first used to say it, they would challenge and say, you don't think love is important? Whatever. And I say, well, as much as I said on that clip, we the first generation to re-raise with movies. It's kind of like the milk's then spilled out the carton now. So it's no putting love back to where it was 300 years ago, right? Like where it was positioned, because a lot of marriage was based on survivability. As we said, we don't need those type of things no more. So love is out there. Love is a real thing. It just needs to be placed in order. I'm not lowering it. I'm not making legacy higher. It's just the purpose. And that's why we say legacy before love, just to kind of describe that for anybody not listening. We're
Absolutely.
not saying love is below legacy. We're not saying that at all. Love absolutely has its place. It's just when you do it in order, the type of love you have in that type of situation is very different than what we're seeing currently. Like you said, the selfish form of love, where it's I want someone to love me to make me feel a certain way, and there's no foundation on the romanticized love you see in a book or in a movie. That's not a foundation to get you through and actually end up with the legacy. And so it's leading to a lot of the things that we're talking about. So hence, that's why we're doing this podcast.
Absolutely. And I would even
any more
say
thoughts
that
on that, and I'm gonna play one more clip and get you out of here today. Thank you.
No, absolutely. But I wanted to just piggyback on that, because when you really think about legacy and love, there's no true love or unconditional love without a legacy of something to hold on to look at, to keep you accountable, to keep you committed, right? I love you because of what we've built together, what we've done together. Before there's any foundational legacy, I like you, I lust after you, I fantasize about you, but that real foundational, true, unconditional love only comes after we have started to build some type of legacy.
No, absolutely. It's what make you continue to do it when the day I don't like you today. But I'm still gonna do this. I'm still gonna do this because we committed to this legacy.
That part. It's bigger than us, right? It's bigger than Nino Brown.
Yeah. Yeah, gonna come back around. We're gonna back in. Well, right now I don't like you today, but I got you.
That part.
All right, here's another. Yeah. So again, these are the type of clips that we'll be discussing in addition to this book, Inner Workings of Relationship. It will get us through season 1 of our private podcast experience. But here's another just great clip, and get your thoughts, and we'll get you out of here.
Listen to this. You say duty as a man to provide. Part of that is right. The other part that you're missing is you're not providing for a woman. You're providing a means. So
what's the difference?
You don't come to my table and I don't come to your table. We create a table. So then what happens with that, when that marriage, is that even if I am here or I'm not here, you know what to do. If all I do is give you the money, and all I do is go out to get the money, and I am not here no more, I am crippling.
Yes.
I need to get you on the table with me so that the table's created, so that no matter what happens, leg is done, I lapse brain, whatever else, you know what to do. Partnership. What that means financially is that you don't bring money and I don't bring money. What it is that whoever can do what we need to do to create an environment where you can make the money.
I really wish more men thought this way.
Then it's fine.
What do you think about what he said?
So I love this clip because the 50-50 conversation is one that we both have admitted we're super tired of when we've been on the Mental Dialogue podcast. But I just thought this was a unique clip that could, again, help us go more in depth. And if if anybody watching this sees this, we're going to give you a quick take on it now. But when you become part of the private podcast, we can go deeper. But any thoughts just based on what you saw, Queen?
Yeah, so I agree. The 50-50 conversation is just so played out and so tired. And when it comes to provision, we have to completely shift the way we think about it, because right now, because of all the selfishness, it really is simply about financial provision. But there are a lot of women who don't necessarily need a man to provide finances, and they don't know that, right? I may need you to cover me spiritually and bring spiritual provision, mental provision, emotional provision. And what a man is really supposed to do is to cover his woman so that she is able to cover the children and the other things. But a woman can only do that when she feels safe, when she's able to be soft. So what a woman may need from a man can be completely different than what the internet is telling us. A man who brings you money and nothing else is not really providing for you. That's a form of control. That's a form of manipulation, right? And so we have to really get to a foundational place of understanding. And when I say we right now, I'm talking about women, of understanding what we need. What is it that I need in order to be able to submit to this legacy that we're creating? To be able to learn from a man who comes to bring me something, and to be able to accept what he's giving and what he's bringing. And if I make more money, then we put that money in the joint account and the bills are paid. But what's happening outside of the money, outside of the financial provision, I think is more important than that financial resource itself.
I love it. And I particularly love what the guy says in the clip, because as he said, if I just bring it and if I'm gone and you don't know what to do, it's highlighting how much the money itself is, how the money itself is not where we've placed it. We've placed too much importance on the finances. The finances are important. Like, I want to make sure I'm clear out there, because people hear you don't speak in extremes, but people hear you in extremes, right? So I'm not saying the money's not important, but when he highlights, if all I do is bring you the money and I'm gone and everything falters, so he's speaking to all the things that have to be put in place. And he said, regardless of what money I bring to the table or the money you bring to the table, we have to, he's basically saying, create a vehicle that sustains whether you are either one of us are gone. That's what the aim is. And that's a different conversation, regardless of what you bring home financially, personally. But we're having conversations focused just on the money, to your point. So definitely, I love that clip. Thank you for your time. Don't want to keep you long. We're going to introduce, maybe, we'll get you one more time, and we're going to just use these to introduce, and we'll have more information the next time we have you on, for anybody that's watching to get locked in on how to be a part of the Black Love Dialogue. Sunday, 8 p.m., January the 25th. We'll have way more details the next time I bring Fila on. Thank you for your time, Queen.
My pleasure. See you soon.
All right, cool.